Livestream.com, EAR to the streets every Monday night, 9 p.m. to midnight. I want to say thank you, Tony Green, for coming through, man. I love that single that you took the common beat of Resurrection. You really, and you really did the beat justice. Usually, I'll be honest, I don't like when I hear people doing tracks over other beats because we're skin of a legendary beat like that. But I must say, you did the beat justice over that common beat.
Oh, thank you.
The joint.
I appreciate
you did justice over that because a lot of people don't know how to flip. There are certain things that you just don't touch. I find.
I dig it.
And the way you were able to flip that common to Resurrection beat and you did it, respect.
I appreciate that, man. It was, it was some lyrics that I had for a minute, and I was just, because I'll go through YouTube and I'll just be looking at beats, because I like beats from that era, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because there's more feeling in them. So, that's just, you might hear me on a lot of beats that have been heard, you know what I'm saying? But my man Jerry Vink, really supply me with a lot of hot beats, new stuff.
Okay. He's one of the new producers you're working with?
Yeah, he's actually like 15, but he lives in Amsterdam.
Oh, okay.
But the beats near Amsterdam. But the beats that he makes are like, I wish I had, because I have some of it on there. I wish I had the edited version, but it's like in that era, just like those kind of style beats.
But also, too, in Europe, though, they're into that type of hip-hop, and they're into that era of hip-hop. Yeah. So a lot of their beats are going to give you that real soulful meaning because shout out to Elder Sente the Artifacts. He was telling me that when he was over in Europe and a lot of these guys, the techniques that they still use over there, it's like, wow, and the technology, and these guys are like, they love those boom bappish sounding beats over there.
Exactly. And that's exactly what
that's why Air in the Streets we would do good over there, wouldn't we, Absurd?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would, yeah. I mean, and that's what you're going to hear from me. I mean, like, you might hear me on some modern beats, too, some of the beats that I make. Like, if you look at my album, you know what I'm saying, the Tony Green Files, the first one, really it's a mix of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a song like Falling Down, which has a sample from Curtis Mayfield. Mm-hmm. And then you'll have a song like Bar Hoppin' or Dirt on My J's, which is like, there's like basically no samples. You know, I do either or. You know what I'm saying? But that's, to me, if the beat's hot, it's hot. You know what I'm saying? If it sounds like it's old school, I'll just go in on it and just try to do it like, you know what I'm saying, that way. If it's a new joint, then I'll try to flip it up or maybe mix it. You know what I'm saying? Do an old school style lyrically on a new beat. Just try different stuff. Because I like to do that too, be original. I always felt like that was a critical aspect of hip-hop.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing I find in hip-hop, we're lacking a lot of the originality that we used to have.
Yeah. And
like, cause everybody's still trying to do the same old thing, like sounding a certain way, but when you got to be true to who you are. Because as you said, people told you that you need that radio single, that radio hit, but at the same time, like you said, that you love hip hop and this is what you do. If you get famous, hey, we all want to make money, but at the same time, like you said, hey, I don't care what they want. I'm gonna do me and like you for who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not gonna. One thing you're not gonna hear from me is like, you're not gonna hear the same thing repeated over and over again on a track. I think like a lot of guys, they kind of they either rap about, selling coke or packing guns or, that sort of stuff over and over. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool, you know what I mean? But it's got to have something else to it. Like Nas, or somebody like that. Like, he'll talk about that stuff, but it'll get deeper. You know what I mean? Like, that's... You know what I mean? To me, that's what hip-hop is about. And I think when cats are like, well, you need the commercial thing, what they're saying is rap about jewelry, rap about being in the club, you know what I'm saying, and all that. And I'm like, I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't rap about that.
Yeah, that's real talk, because if you're not doing that and living that life, what's the point to it?
Like, when I wrote the song, like, Bar Hoppin', like, that was about, that was true. That's the lifestyle I was living. Like, the lyrics in the first verse are, I just sold my Dodge Neon. I got $300 on me, dog. That whole first verse was about me selling my car, only having $300 to my name. Should I save it or should I go party with it? Mm-hmm. Because everybody's been in that situation.
True.
That was a real situation. Now I think people might see it at first and be like, "Oh, that's just another party song." It's got that feeling to it, but if you really listen to the first verse, that was a real bad situation for me. At that time. I just lost my job and all that.
And that's the thing, many people, they see something, but they don't really hear the meaning of the lyrics to songs. They don't understand. Because even when you hear one of the first rap records, The Message by Grandmaster Flash, what he's talking about, yeah, the beat's a party beat, but if you listen to what he's talking about this is how we living. Roaches in the hallway everywhere, broken glass on the floor. He's talking about this is what it's like coming to our hood. This is what it's like living in ghetto America.
And that's one of the best songs ever.
So what I'm saying, a lot of people say, oh, that joint, you could party, you could dance to it, but if you listen to the lyrics, that's not what he's talking about.
Yeah, like that song Bar Hopping, like that beat.
Your song Bar Hopping.
Yeah, like my man, like we used to go to open mics all the time, and the open mics we would go to, like we wasn't finding a lot of hip hop places, so it would be mostly like rock and stuff like that. So I made this beat, and I was like, damn, this is a real bouncy sounding beat. Mm-hmm. So we used to do this song called Looper Troopers over it, which was a song about being in high school or whatever. But then I was like, yo, we need to switch it up. So I wrote those lyrics. I was like, let me try to write, because my man was like, yo, you should write about the fact you don't have enough money for gas to put in your car. Like, you should write about the fact that, you know, this and that. And I was like, all right. So I gave it a shot, right? Put it over a bouncier beat. Now people, you know what I'm saying, they might just hear the beat first. Because we was using that beat at open mics. People would say, oh, they hear the beat. They would be like, oh, let's dance or whatever. But now the lyrics got something
meaningful.
It's right up. It's a page right out of my life. October 2010. That's exactly where I was at, right at that moment. But you know, just like when Master Killer said, "The dumb is only intrigued by the drum." You know what I'm saying? Like he was right.
That's real talk, though. How many people because a lot of people don't open up their minds and expand themselves to other stuff. They only know this, like you said, the dumb is intrigued by the drum, and that's for people who listen to top 40 radio 9 times out of 10.
It's for real. And I know myself, like I mentioned to you, when I first started, I didn't start getting deep into the lyrics until, like, later. It was about the beats. The beats drew me in. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of cats are like that. They don't really take the time to look at an album like it was written and say, damn, this is probably the deepest stuff that I've ever heard from a rapper. Like, they just take it at face value.
And that's my whole thing with it. And that's what I can say, like, from talking to you behind the scenes, that you really know what you're talking about. We have a deep conversation on hip-hop, and it's about, well, hey, here's what it is. This is who I am. This is what I'm trying to do. And my thing with it is that through the lyrics, and that's why through the songs and the lyrics that you write and that you talk about, I can relate to you. Because you're like a dude like me from around the way.
Yeah, you know? I mean, and me, listen, I grew up in the burbs too. Like
same here. We grew up in the suburbs, so we know what it's like.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and I think that, and this is another thing I wanted to mention about, like, talking about, like, some of my attributes as a rapper. Like, what I always wanted to do was sort of open people's eyes to, let's keep it real here. Like, everything in the ghetto isn't bad, and everything in the burbs isn't good. Mm-hmm. There's good and bad in each place. Now,
and you know who actually did that in the song that was De La Soul, the song "Potholes in My Lawn." That's what they were talking about.
There you go.
So, because they were from Long Island, and they were like, you got to remember, the suburban experience isn't necessarily always white and always pretty. I mean, they got black people in the suburbs as well, and it can be hood as well. And I wanted to say, but again, thank you, Tony Green, for coming through.
No doubt.
You're gonna stick around and do a little freestyle for us later on.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
All right. Livestream.com, Ear to the Streets. Make sure you cop his Volume 2, Declassified.
Oh, real
right here.
Real
and
quick.
Tony, and you know,
real quick.
Cop that, the Tony Green Files, Volume 2.
Yeah, the Volume 1 joint, the Tony Green Files, is on Amazon and on iTunes. And the Volume 2, you know what I'm saying? If you want to hear some of those new songs, just check me out, the Tony Green Files, on SoundCloud and also on Reverb Nation. And I want to give a big shout out to Stretch from Rhyme Calisthenics, End of the Stage. That's May 5th, this Saturday at T-Bar Union, 2012 Morris Ave. You know, 10 blocks from Keene College. You know what I'm saying? So doors open at 7.
All right. Thank you again for coming through.
Thank you.
You know, stick around a little later. I'm going to have that freestyle.
All right.